Hey everyone, today is April 1st, 2025. We are in Massachusetts today, checking out a few locations. Don't expect to find too much wrong here today because beavers were relocated, and last year, the entire season, we came here in the spring, summer, fall, never a single issue. Another beaver never moved in. I think eventually they probably will, since there's evidence of beavers living downstream from the issue. I think they will be back, so that's why we do periodic checks. This time of year, it's a little early. The leaves will be on the trees within 1 month in Massachusetts. My area, probably 2 months. So today is a weird day. It's only a degree above freezing. It was also a degree above freezing when I started driving nearly 4 hours ago up north. It is really weird. Usually you come down here, it's a lot warmer. It's strange that it's just slightly above freezing everywhere today. And today was an interesting day. On my way down here, I pulled over so I could text somebody who was messaging me, and then a police officer pulled up behind me just to see if everything was okay. I told him I pulled over to do some text messages because it's safer than doing it while driving. It's also illegal to do it while driving. He liked my answer. He said next time maybe just take a highway off-ramp and do it somewhere else. Don't be in the breakdown lane. Now keep in mind, this breakdown lane had a lot of space. It wasn't a very busy highway. It was very rural, but he still got behind me to see that. And he took my license, ran it anyways. When he brought it back, he was like, "When was the last time you smoked marijuana?" And I was like, "Why? Do you smell something in here or something?" I told him, "You can search the whole vehicle. There's nothing like that." And he pointed down at my console. He was like, "Hey, there's a pot pipe right there." It's this thing. Doesn't have a cap on it. It's nummy stuff because I have a tooth that's been bothering me. He thought that was a pot pipe, which is hilarious. Let's get out. No, that's not the first incident like that. A couple years back, a cop also was checking in on me, and he thought I was drinking and driving. He said there was a small odor of alcohol coming from the vehicle. It was my hand sanitizer. He had me follow his finger and do a couple drunk tests. Nope. Now I am seeing a difference here since the last time we were out. It's uncertain if there's beavers here yet. We got to inspect a few things, but there's been issues where they got the water very high down there. There was evidence of it actually crossing. There is a second culvert, but they never clogged it. It's always right here. Downstream, I'm seeing a huge difference. We're going to step over there as soon as traffic goes by. Okay, other side, big difference I'm noticing. The first time we ever came out here, this body of water was a lot smaller. There's not too much current coming out of here. It hasn't been that rainy, it's just drizzling. But there used to be land here. I set my camera up around here one time looking back for camera number 2. These 2 pipes here used to also be pouring down into the water. And I like to point out that water is actually very clear. They used to be pouring down. Now the water level's halfway up in the pipes. I believe there's another beaver dam right around the corner somewhere where we can't see it. They keep building it higher and higher. Now this isn't affecting the road, and it probably will take quite a few more years for that to happen. This was 2 years ago, and they've only got the water up maximum 2 feet, maybe a foot a year. It's gonna take a couple of years before this becomes an issue with the roadway. But yeah, there's definitely beavers down there. And if you've been watching my channel long enough, you should know that beavers like to have other water sources. Even if they don't live up here, eventually one's gonna come up here and plug these pipes for no reason other than water storage. I always like to point out these guardrails here have so many issues. Now we see all this. Somebody out here has taken this into their own hands, unclogging all this plant matter. And yes, the beavers have returned to the area. Look at that. And this water's a lot more clean than I remembered. I wonder if I don't know. I remember a lot of plants. Maybe it's just very early in the year. Water levels are not that high, but we do have a little bit in here. Go ahead and get that out, actually. Before I go ahead and get that out, I just want to take a little walk down to the second pipe. So these guardrails here, that's illegal, having a square washer, because if someone hits it, the square washer has sharp edges and it will cut the guardrail, making it useless. You'll go right through it because this sharp edges will actually cut the rail. There's supposed to be no washer at all, not even around one. And this guardrail seems more damaged than it was the last time we were here. Look how ridiculous this is. This is how much Massachusetts cares about your safety. Whether that was hit by a snowplow or whatever may have done that. Doesn't even have the proper bump stop, which is now required by law. This is also highly illegal. It's supposed to have a bump stop here to slow your vehicle down. Now you're gonna ride up this rail and flip over if you hit it. The plant growth down here is pretty beautiful. Got iron oxidizing bacteria with some green algae. Pretty nice looking. The beavers are raising up the water levels. Definitely, this was always a grassland. Eventually, I believe if they raise it in maybe another foot or so, they're gonna start killing all these shrubs. They're gonna kill a lot of the aquatic grass. See how there's shrubs and grass everywhere? This is how it used to look over there by the pipes. And we've made it to culvert number 2. I just want to see if the beavers are messing with it because this is a new family of beavers. The other ones were relocated, so someone else has come up from down there is where we think there's probably a beaver dam down there. Still can't see anything. But they have a large flat valley, so it could be who knows how far away. We got this tiny little pipe taking over for all the overflow that's not fitting through the clogged pipe. We gotta wait for another vehicle to pass, and then we're gonna go look at the entrance of this small pipe. There is not another pipe down here, even though you see more water. Any water from there or the drainage ditch just comes through here. Here's the pipe. I do not believe it is blocked. It's slightly underwater, which is very common. Ooh, bubbles. Got some sticks in here, but no, that wasn't beavers. The beavers would have easily plugged the whole end. It's not running completely at capacity because likely this is pushed down by settling over the years. It's not completely even. It's not pitched correctly after years and years of settling. No issue there. And yeah, I can see the lily pads are starting to grow. They should be up to the surface in the next couple of weeks. This area will be looking beautiful again soon with all the lily pads blooming. Lots of plants will be growing back because down here in Massachusetts, it's extremely unlikely that you're gonna get this to freeze over again. Massachusetts will experience definitely more freezes, more frost, maybe potentially, probably not, more snow. We look down here, you see the road is kind of falling in and the water isn't even that high. Years ago, I've seen the water a bit higher and it's causing the whole road to kind of slip. You see all the dirt here. This pole is also brand new. Not sure if someone hit it, but them putting the new pole in also disrupted the ground. And just that little bit of disruption, I'm sure, made this a lot worse. What's gonna happen if anyone hits the guardrail here? Well, the posts are basically in mud. That's not really gonna hold any sort of impact. Plus down there has another illegal end. You're gonna flip over if you hit that. That is not great. These do not have concrete in the bottom. They're meant to dislodge. They're not supposed to be abrupt where it could hurt somebody more. That is beaver related. They're building a small dam here, but it's not making a difference on either side. So they might be planning on damming over here too to separate this pond into two. Not sure why the beavers clogged up that little canal. without doing anything further. Especially considering the other end here is not falling into water. You can barely see it coming out, and there's barely a blockage. We're not going to bother setting up camera number 2 because this is one of those situations, even in my comments, people will be saying that they see really no difference. So there's debris here, whether that's the town doing it or a neighbor doing it that may have seen these videos and took it into their own hands. There's barely anything here. This is gonna take just a few minutes to open it up. We're just gonna basically do it like that. 2 hands would be more helpful. Okay, we freed that up in about 5 minutes and got it going again. Not too exciting. Now we're gonna go to the next location, but this will be on my radar for the remainder of the summer now. Unless I have proof that they're relocated again. We'll have to do periodic checks here once again. Before it gets dark this afternoon, I also plan on visiting the lake drain, which absolutely has a beaver problem. But you know what's funny about that? The state has to keep up on it. I'm not touching it with the way they put their structure there. Doesn't say no trespassing, but just the fact that there's a fence around the structure means they don't want a random person doing it. So I don't touch that one anymore. And the beavers are such a menace, and they legally cannot relocate them. So they got to deal with the beaver basically every other week forever because it's a privately owned pond with beavers, so they can't relocate them. Doesn't matter that it's messing with infrastructure. It's just forcing them to do their preventative maintenance. And what do we got here? I never saw this before, but this is a beaver lodge right here. It's not the newest, but max 2 years old. It's no more than 2 years old. I can tell just by the way it's rotting, the sticks. So that was either built last season or maybe the season before, but I think that was built in 2024. Okay, I got my map set. We're gonna do our next preventative maintenance check. I mentioned the incident with the police earlier, and well, I have a new dash camera, but it's in my truck. This is my old car. I'm using this because I'm trying to save money in any way I can at the moment. It uses like half the fuel as the truck, so why bother bringing the truck down to Massachusetts? We're not going anywhere. We're gonna get stuck. Nothing like that. You know, on our way to the lake drain, I want to go to the Triangular Great Culvert. I don't think we can. I think that road is actually going to be blocked off for mud season. But we're going to try. And with it raining, I'm not going to go down there. We checked it in the fall. Beavers were relocated by force. They were relocated because the area is near a flood retention reservoir, which means the entire area, their lodge, everything was flooded under over 8 feet of water for months. So that relocated them, and they never came back. That was 2 years ago. Nothing in the fall. I don't expect that to be an issue at the moment, but at the same time, I didn't expect this place to be an issue either. So, yep. Be there soon. Well, that sums it up. The gate is shut, and this is the second gate I've checked. Sometimes they'll open certain ones, leave other ones shut. It's because it is mud season. They don't want vehicles to damage the roads. This will probably be open again in about a month, if not earlier. So sometimes they'll have it gated only a mile away from the Triangular Grate. We can walk that pretty fast. This is gated everywhere. So we would walk a minimum round trip of 10 miles. We're not doing this today. It's also 5 in the afternoon. We're now going to go to the lake drain, which is about another hour away. All right, everyone, it's lake drain time. The road is old. It's not torn up here, so they did nothing about the culvert we're running over right now. There's another failing culvert right there. Eventually, it's going to fail. The whole bottom of it's missing right there. That's where the water enters the lake, which is through the woods on our right. The lake is actually for sale, along with this abandoned building right here. One of the driveways is blocked by that fallen tree. So that building right there, the reason it owns the lake is because that building right there used to be an ice house. This lake was created just for making ice back before refrigeration was a thing. Before refrigeration was a thing, they'd come out here in the winter, they'd cut blocks of ice, store them in that heavily insulated building, and you'd put them in your ice box. An ice box is before modern refrigeration. You have a giant cube of ice sitting up top, and it trickles down below, and it keeps everything cold like a refrigerator. So, definitely still see beaver issues. Like I said, that's going to be a problem forever, the way the law is set up. And I like the way the law is set up. This pond here is causing issues with the road, but it's because the road doesn't have the proper infrastructure to deal with it, and I almost guarantee the pond was here before the road. So the landowner should have the right of say, and that's exactly what's going on here. Look at that big pile of debris that the state's been getting out and dumping here behind the fence. It's nice to see they fixed the fence. I'm not sure if that was fixed last time or not, but they have a gate here, they have it locked. It doesn't say you can't go in here, but we don't go in here since they put the gate up. But this seems to be working fine. So let me explain what you're seeing here. They intentionally put this fence up right here. This fence is more surface area, a lot harder to clog up than the smaller surface area of the actual structure. You see there is some beaver dam in there. It's because it's beneath the walkway and no worker wanted to crawl underneath there and get it out. It's fine. It's not really doing too much with capacity. Notice this entire platform is below the surface of the road. This entire thing becomes a drain. If this becomes clogged up, it'll just pour in through the metal decking. So this was put here. Yes, it slows them down. It's a bigger surface area. But now that they've built a dam here, they feel accomplished. They won't build it any higher unless it starts trickling over the top. Then they'll make it higher and let it go up and up. But you'll notice this little thing right here. You see there's current coming out of this from below. Well, there's most likely a black plastic pipe that goes way out there with a cage around it underwater. The water's trickling into the cage so gradually, the beavers can't detect the current, so they don't clog it up. They can probably hear it going through that pipe, but they just don't know where to clog it up. So that's what you call a beaver deceiver, and it seems to be working fine. All the material here, you see none of it's super fresh. They feel accomplished. They're not really building anything else. So it seems like this is actually working from the first time we saw the brand new structure. The first time we saw this, they were clogging it up, elevating the water, major issues. So this is definitely a big upgrade from the old structure. Now this could have been done better. Underground is a gigantic black plastic pipe, which is now crushed like an oval, which means during installation there was improper compacting, and they also didn't use the right gaskets. There was water spraying out in the joints of the pipe at first. That has stopped because it got clogged up with sediment. It's still not supposed to be like that. I even walked through the system from the other end, which is a couple 100 feet away. It's got a couple manhole covers in the road because to keep price down, they have it going out 45 degree under this bridge, another 45 degree, and out into the swamp where it was supposed to go. The old structure right there just went straight under the highway in a straight line. We reported that years ago, and they didn't believe me, didn't care, didn't do anything about it. I had to get the news involved. Then they finally lifted a finger, but it was too late. If they would have listened to my original inquiry, they could have lined the old pipe and saved it. Instead, the entire pipe started crumbling, causing a sinkhole underneath the highway. I forget what the price total was, but they had to pay over $1 million to put this new structure in. And you would think for that price that they would put something in 100% correct. Now that price also, there's a lot of permits, police involved that have to block off the road, detours that have to happen, ground penetrating radar, getting rid of the old structure, so they just filled in the pipe with concrete. The old structure can no longer operate. How solid is this? This is actually kind of solid compared to the last time I tried to walk out here. I'm just trying to see if I can confirm if this is a black plastic pipe. Oh wow, this Beaver Dam is way bigger than it looks. The foundation goes all the way out here. I do see something there. That might be where it is. That might be the top of a pole. No, they buried it deep enough I can't see it. But it's coming out of right here. And that pipe is handling it. I'm imagining it's a standard 18-inch plastic pipe. Under normal flow conditions, it's actually holding it. And look, this has been here long enough. We got lawns starting to grow on there. That's actually aquatic grass. These pieces are pretty fresh. So what does a beaver do? When they cut down a tree, they usually eat the bark before they make it into a dam. If they're in a rush to build a dam that just got removed, they will go ahead and use material very quickly. They don't even have time to eat it. But after the spring thaw, once the ice is off the pond like it is now, you'll typically see a whole bunch of sticks and stuff floating around. I'm not really seeing that here. Actually, yeah, I do. If we look around carefully, we'll see that. So what a beaver does is they cut down a whole ton of trees. They have piles underwater stuck down with mud of fresh trees. So during the winter, they don't hibernate. They slow down. They're not building dams, obviously. But from their lodge, which is located over there, they'll swim underneath the ice, grab a few pieces of what's called their pantry, bring it up in the lodge, eat it. The next time they come out to get more, they'll dump these sticks without the bark. And then that's why they're floating around everywhere come spring. But look, they've been busy. All these trees weren't here a couple years ago. Look at that. Look at all these trees the beavers knocked down into the water for building supplies and food. Wow. This is a beautiful property as far as it have. That would be a perfect home building site, but it's next to the highway. There's people here. This public fishing area is open where people litter or dump stuff. I'm sure the taxes for this property in Massachusetts are super high. And if someone has the money to buy a property like this, they wouldn't do it here. They wouldn't do it here. So I think this is going to be for sale for a very long time. No one's going to pay what they're asking for it. Not where it's located, next to the busy highway. I don't think it's going to happen for a while. So a little bit of backstory there. They did end up putting a lot of nice rocks here. Some of these I believe were even here before. One of the final completions they did, and it took 2 years for them to finally do it. It was on their original building permit plans, which are public knowledge because it's public property. I was looking at those years ago, and they had a Jersey barrier here acting as a retaining wall. 2 years after they completed work, they still didn't remove it. Maybe it's because I complained about it. They finally made it look more natural and fulfilled their original building permit plans. So that's the old drain structure down there. What you're seeing there with the bolts of, wow, the water's actually really clear today compared to normal. That was holding a valve stem with a valve at the bottom of the structure so they could drain the entire pond for maintenance. It's a man-made pond. Eventually this pond won't be here. You look at historic maps of this, and it was twice as big. It's slowly filling in with sediment from upstream and a bunch of parking lots with broken detention ponds, which is illegal, and I don't understand why the state doesn't force those businesses that you know have the money to fix it. So a detention pond, basically, it's what we have up there. I think it's supposed to be a retention pond. The difference is detention is always empty. You can literally go in there, there's no mud, you can mow it under normal conditions, but when it rains, it fills up, slowly releases until it's completely empty. A retention pond always has a little bit of water on it. It has a bacteria cycle. It usually has cattails, which are great for absorbing oils and other contaminants from the parking lot. That's what I think it used to be because there's a broken off structure in there. I believe it was designed to hold a little bit of water, or that could have just been an overflow spillway in case the detention pond ever did get to capacity. Regardless, it's broken. It's not operating properly, and they should be fined for that because that's why so much excess sediment is coming into places like this. So I'm not sure who owns the property. It's either Ocean State Job Lot or Big Y, which I would assume it's Big Y, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's so neglected. There's bushes, tall grass in the enclosed area. No one's maintained that thing in literal decades, and you can certainly see it. I'm not sure why they're not held accountable for that. If it was a private business, I bet you the government would be all over them. Got an ambulance here. The hospital's nearby. Well, they never fixed that fence, and that's been like that for like 6 years. And someone even graffitied the tree. Yeah, that's just more obvious reasons why a potential investor would not want to buy this property and build a house here. It's nice to have a pond. It's nice, but it's a busy road. You see there's graffiti. People don't really care about the area. There's trash around, graffiti, loud highway, a lot of reasons to not move here. If someone has over $1 million to buy a beautiful property like this, they're not going to buy it here, and that's why it has been for sale for such a long time. Just look at this bridge right here. Look at all the patches of where they have to keep covering up graffiti. No one wants to live in a place like this. And also look at the bridge itself. Do you know why it has that black canvas net underneath it right there? It's to stop concrete from falling onto cars. You also see wooden planking underneath there too. It's to stop concrete from falling onto cars. The bridge is a piece of garbage. This area has such high taxes, but yet the infrastructure is falling apart. And when they do fix it, just like this drain, it's oftentimes not even put in correctly. But I do see the Department of Natural Resources, is who I'm assuming put up that nice fence around it, and the Beaver deceiver, all that kind of stuff there. They did a perfect job. The state, the DOT who installed it, is the one who didn't do the proper job. But the DNR did a good job. And I hope this video was interesting of updates on these areas. That first area I showed you, we will be doing periodic checks there every now and then since we know the beavers have returned. Second place we weren't able to go to, I'm assuming the beavers are still not there. It's been 2 years. This place here, I showed you what's going on, and I hope this video was interesting. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.